sure these things still work.
Giving you the real surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with your host, Skywalker Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Welcome to the Skywalker Morning Show, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! Finally, Skywalker has come back to YouTube. Man, you know how long I've been waiting to do that? Purposely, obviously. It's my own doing, but a lot has been going on. We'll talk about it. We're going to catch up a little bit. Personally, we'll talk about these Cowboys. They have had an active offseason. And look, some people think the Cowboys have changed. We're going to talk a little bit about why I don't think that's the case, but that doesn't mean that they didn't do some good things to get into. It's a whole lot. Obviously, me being gone for roughly almost 2 months now, I think a month of some change. A lot has happened, and we're not going to be able to cover everything in every detail right this second, but we'll cover as much as we can, man, as much as we can. Cowboys Nation, Bomb Squad, it's been a while. Let me go ahead and press this button because I got to make sure these things work. What's good with your Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
Man, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Phone lines. Yeah. Call in. I want to talk to you. 351-999-3787. A lot of you guys, let me just say this before I get into the Cowboy stuff. For those that are here right now, y'all the diehards, y'all the Bomb Squad. I can talk to you about this. For those that may re-watch this, the Cowboys talk will be in a few minutes. But I want to kind of give my explanation, right? Like, where did the sky go? Why? Number one, I told you guys with the new gig, right? I'm back with the volume, doing some production over there for the volume. That is definitely taking up a lot of my time, and I didn't expect it to take up as much time as it did. But I'm going to figure all of this out as we go. But also, a little bit of, I'm going to call it breaking news. Let me find that button. Look, y'all, I got it. I had to, look, I didn't have to, but I moved across country. And boy, did that take your boy out. I wasn't expecting. Yep, I'm back in PA, back up here with the fam. And that definitely took some kind of getting things together, getting the studio back together, just getting a bunch going on. So that's a little bit about what's happening with your boy. Yes, T. Roy, my little one had his first birthday not that long ago, a couple weeks ago. He is one running around. Oh, and yeah, we got our first super chat of the show. Shouts out to you, Joe Cook. Super chats are available now on the show. Also, you can hit me up on, I believe it's Cash App. It's money sign ChillWill1026. So appreciate you, Joe Cook. He says, fan. Oh, that's just a heart. He's just showing love. Thank you very much. Shouts out to the Angry Cowboys fan up in here. Appreciate you holding it down, doing some content. Stevie Mac, the original, my guy. Toxic Tom, what's going on with you, Toxic? It's been a minute. James, what's good with you, James? J Riz, Ride Trap, Hallelujah, Mason Johnson, TB, TC915. I'm just giving a lot of shout outs right now. Like I said, Cowboys Nation, if you're here for the Cowboys talk, give me a few minutes, man. I missed y'all. Hey, A-Rod. Yes, I'm back on the Eastern time zone now. Back on the Eastern time zone. Yeah, man, it feels good. Feels good to be kicking it back with y'all and the squad, the fam, my internet fam. Y'all have, man, me being away and you guys reaching out on Twitter and here and saying how you missed the show, you missed everything going on. It really humbled me because to me, the Cowboy space there's a lot of content. There's tons of it. And I didn't think, okay, I stepped back for a little bit, right? Been going at it 5 straight years, damn near every day. Step back for a little bit. No big deal while I get some things handled and work on this other gig. Well, the space is interesting. I will just say that. And you guys were definitely like, nah, come on back, man. We need you in this space. So here I am. We're going to try to get this thing going back regularly. Again, we'll have the guest on. Also, quick update. Draft show this year. Me, Foots the King, Zach from Double Move. That is going to be fantastic. I'm excited for it. All right, so y'all ready to just talk Cowboys now? Got all this out the way. You ready to talk Cowboys? It says no super chats, just super stickers. Oh, okay. So, all right, I got to figure that out. My bad. My bad, Jimmy. I'll figure out the super chats. In the meantime, in between time, you can do the stickers or you can hit me up on Cash App ChillWill1026. Apologies. Let me press this button. Getting used to all these buttons again. How do I do? Is this thing on? We here, man. Elijah said, am I coming back to Dallas? You never know. Maybe. Shouts out to Matt Lennox in the building. Said, glad you're back. Got some news myself later after your show. Yeah, hit me up. I don't want to tell people about your own news. I know you told me about what's happening, but when you drop that, I'll be sure to retweet and whatnot. So, Cowboys Nation. This has been, as you can see right here, an active offseason. And before I left, I ain't go nowhere. Before I left, by the way, audio good, everything good. Kind of hinted at the Cowboys are going to have an active offseason. But one of the things that I mentioned prior to my hiatus was it's really not about the number. Because put a pin in that, we've seen that before, right? We've seen them sign a bunch of players. It wasn't about the quantity, it was about the quality, right? Because I can give a damn if they sign 3 high quality players and that was it, as opposed to 10 players or below players, and we're all not up in arms, we're all celebrating because they did something, they were active. Here's what I think happened. This is just me I'm just talking, we're just rambling right now. I think because of what happened last offseason, meaning they weren't active at all, it wasn't going to take much for us to be like, yo, they signing, they active, they moving, and getting us to feel really good about what's happening. But I cautioned myself. I said, let me just let things play out, no matter what's happening. Whether it's day 1, day 2, week 1, week 2, whatever. Let me just let things play out. Let me let a month or so go by. And somebody said it took Joe Milton to get me up out of it. A little bit. We'll get to that Joe Milton trade in a second. But as the weeks have went by, and I'm looking on Twitter, and I'm looking in the space, and I'm hearing, I'm seeing, I'm just like, am I tripping? Did last offseason affect Cowboys Nation so bad that being active in this manner has pretty much did the Men in Black push the button, you forget about everything else? Am I tripping? Y'all, because y'all can tell me. I say it all the time. Hey, y'all let me know if I'm wrong, if I'm tripping. This look the same to me. We'll break it down a little bit, but it look the same to me. Let's get into it, Cowboys. Let's talk about these free agent moves that went down. Okay. Now, Sky, how I like to look into the free agent market year in, year out is using it to try to get better. I always say this, right? If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. The Cowboys use free agency to maintain. That's that seems to be their goal. It's never to, hey, we're using this to get better. They actually often tell you that, right? Like, we don't really believe in it. The rest of the league does. I talked about that plenty of times. So, unfortunately, we've become accustomed to them moving in this manner. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't hit on a player, or two, shopping at the bottom of the bargain bin, right? We've seen them do it. So on day one, they signed Javonte Williams. Day one, day two-ish. Robert Jones, Solomon Thomas, and Peyton Turner. And I dropped a video about that. If you want to go check it out, it was obviously great when those things happen. Excuse me. And when that happened, I'm like, okay, we addressed depth, but still waiting for the starter type, right? Now you can say, well, Sky, Javonte Williams could be a starter. Because I'm not trying to disrespect him. Anybody in the chat believe that Javonte Williams is RB1? I don't believe so. In fact, I said this on the video. Javonte Williams had a pretty impressive start to his career, had the knee injury in Denver, and he hasn't quite been the same. However, there's still something there. I believe let me see if I got something here for you. Yeah, there's something there from Javonte Williams. He's a downhill bowling ball type of runner, and it's right up the Cowboys' alley, right? 1 year, $3 million. Former, call him high pedigree guy, but former starter-ish guy, tandem guy out of Denver. And we know when he played Dallas, he pretty much destroyed Dallas. So that could have also played a factor in them bringing him in. Now, I did say that they needed to address the position anyway in free agency because they didn't have anybody in the room. However, Javonte Williams should not stop you from drafting a running back, right? We all agree with that. In fact, Javonte Williams nor Miles Sanders should stop you. That's another guy that they signed a few weeks ago. I don't particularly think Miles Sanders should even have been signed, but it is what it is. They're just trying to fill out the room right now. My worry with something like this, and I pray this doesn't, you can say, well, Sky, you're jaded, you're thinking on the negative side in regards to this, but I've seen them operate in this manner, y'all. I've seen them do this. They'll address the position, low barrel free agents, and they'll get to the draft and say, well, we don't have to take that position because we did X, Y, Z. They have done it at the running back position. Am I tripping for being a little bit nervous that they may look at Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, and say, you know what? Keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And next thing you know, we're in round 6, which this is a historically deep running back draft. We say that sometimes, but it's a really deep running back draft. I think you can draft 2 guys. But I worry, and I think a lot of these guys can come in and be better than Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, that they say, we'll get to round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, and they're like, we might as well just do undrafted free agents. And those guys might even be better. And not draft one at all. Meaning, yes, possibly passing on some of those top guys that I really like. And I say top guys, those top 5 to 10 guys in this draft that I think come in and be impact now. You could argue there's 10 to 15, 20 guys that could be impact. But Cowboys Nation, talk to me. Am I wrong for being a little worried? It kind of is in the same mode of, oh, we traded for Jonathan Mingo. We don't need I'm trying to get that out of my head too, because the other side of this, acquiring free agents in the manner that the Cowboys do. A lot of people say this, oh man, they address X, Y, Z. They don't have to reach in the draft. They can just do BPA. They can just. My question to you, have any of these signings stop you from drafting said position? has any of these signings stop you from drafting said position? No. No. I think we're looking at this wrong. The Cowboys constantly put band-aids on free agency to sell that to us. All right, yeah, now we can line up and play and go. But I don't really necessarily think that should be the approach. I'm trying to get some starters in free agency. Now, there's a guy I'm gonna talk about here that I think could be that. If you really truly want to go into the draft and say BPA, although I think it's BPA per need, or we don't need to do XYZ, get a guy that's here for a long time, not a short time. Get a guy that you can sign to a 3, 4, 5 year deal that, hey, I can plug this dude in here and I don't got to worry about this, not just this draft, but next draft, et cetera, et cetera. These guys don't stop you from that. And these guys aren't needle movers. They may be guys that can keep you what? Maintaining where you are. But I'm not going to sit here and get butterflies in my tummy because we're maintaining. Sorry, not doing it. The title of the other video was, this is a no BS review of free agency. I think too many people, because of what happened last year, was like, yo, this is amazing. We're actually doing something. Who is this front office? This is the same front office. This is the same front office that did this before. Excuse me. This should feel familiar. It should. I don't know how many times I've heard, man, they moving different. No, they're not. I've watched them sign 10 free agents in March and April under a new regime before. Yeah. And I've watched them sign 70 and 90% of those guys to 1 year deals. Yeah. In 2020, they did that, right? Got a new head coach. Obviously, got to bring in new players. And that's something that we talked about, right? With Schottenheimer, the new coaching staff, you should have expected those guys to sign a bunch of players. It wasn't about the number. It wasn't about the quantity. It was about the quality. And again, it's not to knock these players, right? They should play some role in some shape or form, but there is not a single needle mover, in my opinion. There's not a single guy that you say, yeah, we are so much better. Some could argue not even better. You're just maintaining. In 2021, when Dan Quinn took over the defense, you got some new coaches in. They signed 10 free agents in this same time period, 9 of them to 1 year deals. This is not new, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to be the bearer of bad news in that case, but as I was sitting back for weeks and weeks and I just kept hearing they're moving different, they're not. And if you think I'm wrong, you're more than welcome to call in 351-999-3787 and tell me how they're moving different. Now, with that out the way, let's get back to some of the guys that I do like here. I talked about Javonte Williams, and I like some of these players. Don't get me wrong. It's just collectively, I don't think this moves the needle, and individually, none of them do. Robert Jones, I'm good. This is like a low end Byron Bell. Y'all remember Byron Bell? This is like a Byron Bell. This is typical Cowboys. I don't know why they don't like to use free agency from time to time to actually upgrade with an offensive lineman. It's one of those principles. It's kind of turning into the safety of the Cowboys, right? Like, Cowboys don't like drafting safeties. They don't even like putting money into safeties until a year or two ago. It's been a while since they had done that. The Cowboys don't like to sign offensive linemen to be starters, to lucrative contracts, to be the guy. They just don't do it. The last guy they signed to a legitimate multi-year deal was Mackenzie Bernadou, I think in like 2010 or something like that. I think he signed like a 4-year deal to be the starter and only started a few seasons. So That's just something they don't do. Robert Jones, big guy, a little bit slow-footed to me. Played a lot of snaps last year. He'll compete to be a backup, but I was a little bit surprised that they chose to sign depth at the position, Cowboys Nation, because I thought they had depth at that position with TJ Bass, potentially Brock Hoffman. Maybe you could address it in free agency. Was just okay, I guess, but he's not a starter to me. Yeah, he's not. And again, some of these players, a lot of these players wouldn't shock me if they don't even make the roster come September because of maybe some rookie or another veteran that gets cut. Solomon Thomas, though, I like that one, Cowboys Nation. And not because I think Solomon Thomas is a needle mover, but not every single signing needs to be that. You do need to have some rotational guys. And Solomon Thomas is a rotational guy, not only a rotational pass rusher for you here, as a hot motor, right? Always running, kind of can replace what you lost in a DeMarcus Lawrence in regards to that motor. But dare I say, and I'm not trying to, we know what D-Law says, so at the end, it's kind of game right now. You're keeping it being. But Solomon Thomas kind of feels, just on the preliminary, on the surface, like more of a leader, and that's a big topic, right? Lead this, lead that. But just not knocking D-Law, the person outside the locker room, but from all accounts, from what I'm hearing about Solomon Thomas in the locker room and obviously off the field, right? Him working with Dak and whatnot with mental health and things like that. Solomon Thomas just feels like a solid guy to have in that locker room. You feel me? A solid veteran to have in there. Yes, he flamed out in San Fran, didn't live up to the top 3 pick, went to Oakland, went to the New York Jets, and that's where you saw Aaron Whitecotton, the Cowboys' new defensive line coach, right, get the best out of him. That's why I liked this one of the original 4 the Cowboys signed. You have a guy who has played at his best with the former coach, and that becomes a reoccurring theme a lot when you bring in new coaches. They go out and get guys. You just hope guys that they coached and played with, you just hope that those guys were successful over there. And Solomon Thomas was. Now, again, he doesn't really address a super need, meaning he's not a run-stoppy guy. He's not that big body guy. He's a NASCAR package, backup 3 tech. Maybe you can throw him out there on the edge if you want to go. Where my boy Vach at? What would you call the big version of the NASCAR package, right? If you want to throw him out on the edge to have some bigger bodies, yeah. Backup Osa. Shouts out to Osa getting the bag. So the Solomon Thomas move was solid from a depth standpoint, but again, not necessarily a needle move. Not big on Peyton Turner. Not gonna lie. Another flamed out first round pick. These is what these guys like. Big body. He flashed a few times. I just didn't like his tape. I don't have a lot of good to say about him, so I'm not going to say a lot. But I do hope that, first round pick, maybe there's something there that they can pull out of Peyton Turner, especially Aaron Whitecotton. He seems like a guy that can develop guys and get the best out of guys. But I think they chose a guy like Peyton Turner because they wanted to get more bigger bodies on the edge for this defense. But they needed to address the juice, Cowboys Nation. Last year, how many times did we get on the show and we talked about the Cowboys did not have enough juice on the edge, oppo, or behind Michael Parsons? And they did that by bringing back Dante Fowler. I like that one. But again, another 1-year deal. Dante Fowler trying to, get out here to prove himself, coming off a double-digit sack season last year. And regardless of Sam Williams coming back, you don't know what Sam Williams is going to be. We even talked about this last year. You really can't even count on Sam Williams in general. It wasn't just on the field, there was off the field things. Now you really can look at the room and say and count for Sam Williams. Account for Sam Williams, in my opinion. You just have to hope for the best for Sam Williams coming off of the ACL in a contract year. They couldn't go into this thing saying, you know what, we don't need more juice. We'll just look at Sam and Marshawn Nealon and go. I wouldn't look at Marshawn Kneeland as a juice guy. I think Sam has some of that, and I think Dante has a lot of that. Double-digit sacks last year with Dan Quinn over there in Washington. He feels slighted. There's an edge to him right now. I don't think he's going to be a starter unless they want to go really small on the edge. But he's going to be, I think, an impact rotational guy, and hopefully he gets more opportunity than he got the first go-round. I was very confused why he didn't play more. He was extremely efficient as a pass rusher. Wasn't a run guy, but he was an extremely efficient pass rusher. And I don't know why he didn't get a lot of tick, but I think he should get more in this group. And we'll get to breaking down the position groups after the draft. But I look for Fowler to be another, I think, 6 to 8 sack type guy, maybe even more if he plays more. So I like the Fowler move, but again, this is just a Band-Aid. This is just a one-year type situation. And if there was a guy that moved the needle a little bit in the sense of you can see it kind of flickering, I think Fowler move would be that guy. You know? That's fair, Dre. Dre said because Dorrance was our guy. Using the Steven quote. I guess we got to do Steven Jones quote now. Yeah, you know how they are about their players. And that's not a knock on DA. Like, DA was a respectable rotational guy. I think they wanted him to be a little bit more, but when it came to rushing the passer, once you in second and long, third and long, you got to get up out of there and throw Dante Fowler in it, because Fowler, I think, can play the position in that role a lot better. The other guy I liked, hey, I ain't gonna lie, Jack Sanborn, man. Jack, let me just, because I'm not trying to be the one to be like, you know, bumping up a guy who hasn't been a dude just yet. But I don't know how you put on that tape and you don't enjoy watching this guy play. So last year, the Cowboys signed Eric Kendricks to man the middle, who played under Mike Zimmer for a long time to help kind of facilitate the understanding and learning of that defense. On the surface, you can say, well, Sanborn's very similar, right? Guy that's come up under the Eberflus defense. It's been in it for, 3 years? He's played a good, decent number of snaps. And he's a special teams guy. So, hey, yeah, he can come in here and can help these guys learn. I think it's more to it than that. Again, I'm not blowing smoke. Y'all know me. Y'all know me. I don't do that. I'm not going to sit here and try to blow smoke. And I'm also not going to sit here and be a Debbie. I'm just going to call it how I see it. And I'm like, all right, put on the tape. Let me see what we got in this kid. I like him. He's an instinctive, heady player. He can get stops. When he played his most snaps in 2023, there's a statistic that I really, really like for linebackers, because it's really hard to find a statistic for linebackers that can correlate, right? You say, oh, tackles. No, it's not tackles. Average depth of tackle in the run game, to me, is a big one. It's one of the first ones I like to go look at when it comes to linebackers. Bro, I had a 2.1 AVDT. That means, Cowboys Nation, he's tackling guys in the run game at 2 yards. That's really good. That's really good. I can care less about total tackles, because you can have 175 tackles. If your AVDT is 5 yards down the field, what does it matter? Now, is he the most athletic guy? Nah. Them Wisconsin linebackers ain't no athletic. But I think he's athletic enough. And here's something that, if you just keep watching this, I'm letting you loop, because you'll understand what I'm saying here. He is surprisingly good in his change of direction in traffic. Like, maybe in space, a guy might get him, but in traffic, he just has this innate feel of when to do it, how to do it, dip. He can meet you. He can thump if you want, but he can also make you miss. He made some quality linemen miss a lot to get to the running back. And it's not in a way that, look, LVE's, and Damone Clark, like these guys kind of didn't want, and there's another guy we'll talk about in a second, they don't really want the business. Sanborn wants smoke. You hardly ever see him overcommit. I think he's patient in a positive way. Y'all, I think Jack Sanborn can be this team's starting middle linebacker. I think Jack Sanborn, given what we have in the room, should be this team's starting middle linebacker. I know this sounds crazy. Scott, he was like, Sky, what about Leofau? You said Leofau could be the middle linebacker of the future. I still think Leofau has some of that. The caveat, though, now is that the guy that drafted Leofau and called him a brilliant, genius player that, taking that into account, is no longer here. Mike Zimmer's no longer. That's not saying that Leofau can't translate to different defenses. No, that's not what I'm saying. But when you have a new defensive coordinator, you have a young player like Leofau who now has to learn a different defense. There may be I don't know, growing pains, but there may be a period of time where he's trying to figure that. He's trying to learn this league in general, but then now he's trying to learn a new defense. Jack Sanborn doesn't. And I know in those clips he's playing off ball or he's playing as an outside linebacker, but he's played some middle, and I think he can play middle. I would throw his ass right in the middle. Now, don't give it to him. Let him compete. But I think if you do let him compete, I think he takes the middle linebacker job and runs away with the Cowboys Nation. Runs away. I mean, again, let's talk. From a player acquisition standpoint, free agency wise at least, or you can call it trade wise, I think Sanborn's the best player. Dante Fowler is probably the best talent. But for what this team needs for a starter, I think Sanborn is going to give us our bang for our buck. Does that make sense? Like, Dante is probably the most talented guy. Let's bring this back up. Dante's probably the most talented guy. But I think Jack Sanborn is going to be your best player overall of this bunch. Paris Campbell, no need to really Paris Campbell signed, play for the he has a Super Bowl ring, played for the Eagles last year. I don't even think he may. Some people, you know how it is in Cowboys Nation. Well, you're in a 4-3. I don't really think Paris Campbell makes this team, but it needed bodies, it needed to address the position. That's their way of addressing it. I think Jack Sanborn is by far the best overall player that they signed in free agency. And it sounds crazy because he's not a bona fide starter year in, year out. But really think about it for a second. There isn't one bona fide starter year in, year out here. All of these guys have been starters maybe at some point, but they turn into rotational guys. Williams, Jones, Solomon Thomas, Turner, Sanborn, Sanders, Fowler, and Paris have all went from maybe starting a year or two or maybe more to just being rotational guys anyway. And of that group, I think it's Jack Sanborn. Who is the guy of that group? We'll get to the trades here in a second, Dre. I just wanted to specifically target the free agent acquisitions, right? Because I often talk about three pillars of team building in the offseason the Cowboys don't partake in and aren't particularly good in. The draft, that's what they do, but free agency and the trades, that's where they need to be better at. So they were more active, but I don't necessarily think active means better. I said it to you guys before. Active just means I've seen this before. But Jack Sanborn, Cowboys Nation, will be my guy of the group. Who's your guy of this group that you think could come in and be a starter? I'm not trying to be cynical at all. Outside of him, I don't think anyone. Just keeping it being. Toxic says none of them. Man, it's fair. You want to talk about being cynical? What's up with your Toxic? Shout out for you for reaching out to me. I think, but bro, man, how do you not watch Sanborn and look at the room and say you think, you don't think he can be the starter? Fowler. Here's the only reason why I say I'm not going to say Fowler. In any other team, yes, he'd probably be a starter because he's going to play that juice pass rusher role, that right defensive end type of role. On this specific defense, where they need that kind of left defensive end run stoppy type of guy, I don't think you're going to roll out Micah and Fowler as your base early down, run down type starters. Now, nowadays, starting kind of, it doesn't really matter when you rotating players. Not really. So yeah, I mean, I can hear you on Fowler because he's going to get a lot of snaps, but yeah, Toxic said very mid, none really moved the needle other than depth. Very underwhelming the whole this roster has. And that goes back to my original point, and why I was kind of taken back by the reaction to free agency by some. It's just like, why are we under this impression that this is new? It's not. And y'all want to remember the names from 2020. You're talking about McCoys and the Poes. Those are bigger-ish names. Those bigger names than what you're seeing here, and they're just names. But there was, out of the 10 signings from 2020, 7 were one-year deals. The other 9 or more than 2-year deals was Gerald McCoy and Greg Zuerlein. This is par for the course for Dallas. Now, where they've been more active per se is in a trade market. Again, not anything new, right? They're trading for guys, majority of this group, that have the high draft pedigree, that flamed out with their teams, and they think that they can save, right? The Cowboys love to be the person in a relationship that says, I can save you. I can make you better. They love it. Let's talk about some of these trades before we get to the big one. Kaiir Elam. He's a big wait and see for me. I get the intrigue coming out of college. It hasn't translated to the pros just quite yet. And to be fair to him, his own general manager basically said, he thinks he didn't really set him up right. And I think his general manager is saving face a little bit, because when you got a 6th rounder, I think it was 7th rounder, or maybe he was undrafted. There was a guy, and I forget his name, excuse me, Cowboys Nation, that came in and took his spot right away from the same draft class. And shouts out to the Buffalo for not playing favorites, right? And my guy and what have you. They said, hey, man, this kid better. We're going to play him. And he never looked back. So Elam kind of just never really got a chance to get rolling. And then they gave him a shot in the AFC Championship game. And, well, it wasn't his best, right? So, yeah, I think it was beneficial. Thank you. It is what it is. But he does fit the physical profile of what Eberflus likes, and McClay, in their defensive backs, specifically their corners, right? That length and athletic ability. He's twitched up. I want to go back and watch 2024 season, and he is a twitched up athlete that can move better in space. He kind of has some of that click and close ability. And I've been hearing some say, oh, he's a good press man. I personally didn't see that. I saw a guy that was a little bit uncomfortable doing that, but hey, maybe things change. But guess what? I don't think that's what he's going to be here to do. I think he is more confident when he has his vision towards the quarterback, and that's exactly what this defense is. It is a primarily vision-based defense that should favor Kaiir Elam. Again, you're basically trading nothing for a high draft pedigree guy. He kind of falls under that same, you guys remember, this is what they like to do. They like to acquire players through trade, 25 and under, that are former high pedigree, right? Like, you look at this list right here over the last decade, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now Kaiir Elam 8 guys are former first or second round picks. This isn't a great list, but this is their MO. This is what they do. That's why to me, I'm like, yeah, this isn't different. This is what they do. But he's a twitched up athlete. Let's see if they can get the best out of him. Linebacker Kenneth Murray. This one is interesting, right? And we'll get to you in a second, Joe Milton, but not right now. I'll talk about Kenneth Murray for a second. I personally, and I'm gonna stand on this, okay, because it may not be popular. I don't know. I don't know how y'all feel about Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn. I think Jack Sanborn's a better linebacker. What? What are you talking about, Scott? Look at all the tackles from Kenneth Murray. Look at the athletic ability. And yeah. I think for what I want this linebacker, or at least middle linebacker, to be, I want it to be Jack Sanborn. I would rather Kenneth Murray play the will type of backer, let Jack Sanborn be the middle, and let Kenneth Murray use his athleticism to fly around. And maybe that's just me liking the fact that Sanborn's a better instinctual player. I think he plays forward better. I think he's more heady. Obviously, Kenneth Murray is much more athletic and more, I don't use the word proven, but his production is there because he's been a starter for 4 years. Just because you've been a starter, though, for so many years doesn't necessarily mean you're better than a guy who maybe didn't get a shot. And I'm just basing off of what I saw. It's not like I studied Kenneth Murray prior to this, except for coming out of college. I remember he was the first draft I covered, quote unquote, professionally, if you want to call it, back in 2020, I believe it was. And yeah, I liked him coming out of Oklahoma, but I don't necessarily think he's lived up to his draft pedigree either. Granted, he's put up statistics, right? He's been a starter. There's something there. I don't like the hesitation in his game. I think there's more hesitation in his game consistently than there is confidence of seeing it and shooting. But boy, when he does see it and he shoots, he does pop off the screen, right? And he pops the ball carrier. There's that to him. I like him better if he's not in the middle. Maybe that's why I'm kind of like, well, I'm just kind of waiting here. What are we doing with Kenneth Murray? Is Kenneth Murray playing in the middle of this defense? If Kenneth Murray's playing in the middle of this defense, not a fan of it. If Kenneth Murray's playing next to Jack Sanborn, I'd like to see it. I don't know what it's going to translate to. I know, again, keep him clean. Let him run side to side, sideline to sideline. Let him get his confidence up. Don't let him think too much in that middle of the defense. Might be something there. But if you want to stick him in the middle and let him be the quarterback of this defense, you got to show me in this Eberflus D with the front that isn't really keeping these guys clean, right? Let me kind of go back a little bit here. Apologies, I'm kind of rambling. My bad. We back, baby. We back. Make sure y'all share this thing though for me, please. Please share this thing. Let's kind of get the algorithm popping real quick. Let me take a step back. The reason why I want a more instinctual, heady, consistently instinctual and heady player in the middle of this specific defense and this team is because the Cowboys are not investing in those bodies up front to keep these guys clean. I said paused. You know what I mean? Like, this organization doesn't invest in the bodies to keep the linebackers clean. I don't know why they don't do it. So if that's the case, and offensively, you can talk about this with the running backs, but if that's the case, I need my linebackers to see things a step or two ahead. Right? I need my linebackers to see things a step or two ahead. Sean Lee's a different animal, but Sean Lee's the perfect example. Sean Lee ain't played with no defensive tackles like that. Never. But Sean Lee, and he wasn't a 4-4-4-5. Had injury problems, but Sean Lee saw that mother was in the matrix. He saw 2-3 steps ahead. You look at Sean Lee and say, how the hell did Sean Lee meet the ball carrier 2 yards behind? Because he was that heady. He was that smart. No hesitation in Sean Lee's game. Different game back then, a lot of misdirection nowadays, but that's the best example I can think of. If the Cowboys don't address the defensive tackle to keep these guys clean, especially a guy in the middle, I need a guy that can do what? Like I said, I need a guy that's instinctual. I need a guy that is good at changing direction in traffic. The one thing about, and this is not, again, not a knock on a guy, because when he sees it and he's confident and he gets downhill and he makes the right decision, he pops. But he overcommits. I don't think he has as good of change of direction in traffic as, say, a Jack Sanborn. That's why I want him as my will. I want him to be able to run a little bit more freer than having to deal with a lot of traffic in the middle. So I mean to go too much in on him, but that's just kind of how I look at it when it comes to Kenneth Murray. Now, I will say this from a depth standpoint, he may potentially be a starter. Starting off with, and again, I'm a little higher on Sanborn than probably a lot. I think a lot of people like Sanborn, but I think Sanborn could be a starter. Sanborn, Murray, and Leofau, because you're without a Demo, and we'll get into breaking down the linebacker rooms and a bunch of the rooms over the course of the next few months. I do think it's a start, right? I do think it's a start. I just wish we addressed the front a little bit more to help him out. Hey, yo, Frederick, that's good right there. Sean Lee, 4'2" brain and a 4'6" body. That's real. That is real. Yeah, Dre, we don't need Murray thinking too much. Just see it and hit. And we do got the linebacker guru of a coach, right? So in a way that I talked about Solomon Thomas and Aaron Whitecotton, you hope that Eberflus can get the best out of Sanborn and Kenneth Murray. That's what we're looking at. If you say, well, Murray's just going to be who he is and Eberflus is not going to be able to make him better, then I think Murray is going to have to compete with the Maris Leofaus of the world. Probably should be anyway, but he's costing a good bit. There's something there. I don't. You know how the Cowboys are. If we paying you got to play type situation. But once Demo come back, I mean, see ya. Although Demo got to show that he can do it anyway. All right. Then there's the big one, right? There's the quarterback trade the Cowboys made. Before we kind of get into the specifics of the trade, leading up to this, and shouts out to Foots, shouts out to who was it? Foots and Double Move, Zach. They were talking about, and a lot of people were talking about this. It's not just them two, but there was a thought process that Cowboys going to draft a quarterback in there. Not that I'm opposed to them drafting a quarterback. It's just that in a situation like this where you don't get a bunch of guys in free agency in the sense of, dudes, needle movers, legitimate starters. I wasn't really fond of addressing a quarterback position in the top 100 picks where you needed those top 100 picks at other spots, right? Because the quarterback position here in Dallas, you're looking at a backup. You're looking at a guy that can step in for Dak or you can develop in that case. And I don't, again, they're more of the draft folk, but just kind of just on the surface looking, not a strong quarterback class. Not a strong. So if you wanted to get one of them type of dudes, you had to do it probably in the top 2 or 3 rounds. And those top 2 or 3 rounds, I need them for other positions. I need them for other. I'm sorry, Cowboys Nation. I need that. I'm not against finding the successor to Dak Prescott or finding a guy that can step in if he goes down. I'm not against that at all. But I'm against it in the top 3 rounds. I mean, we need them. So Foots and them start, hey, man, let's do some mock drafts. And other guy, I'm like, man, I hope like hell they don't do this. Then the trade talks start coming up of, well, Cowboys can trade for one. And Joe Milton's name was the popular name. And I'm like, man, this makes so much sense. Joe Milton makes so much sense. Will they do it? And you start hearing the breadcrumbs and boom, they did it. Yesterday, it came down. The Cowboys will send a 2025 fifth round pick for quarterback Joe Milton, and they get back a 2025 seventh round pick. So essentially, I think Cowboys won this trade. He could go out there and be terrible, but just from the surface, right? If you're going to grade the trade like we did with Trey Lance, where we talking about I don't call it a premium pick, but a solid pick for the Cowboys in the 4th round, and you got nothing else back in return, and you had the price tag. I think this is different. I think this is different in so many different ways. Now, and Joe Milton is not a guy that has a whole lot of college experience, but he has a whole lot of physical traits. And that's probably what got him drafted in the first place. If you go back and listen to the draft show last year with me, Vach, and Foots, or some of the drafts that we did, I mean, Foots talked about Milton a lot as kind of a flyer guy that you can, try to develop. Wicked arm. This is kind of what I have for my notes here on Joe Milton. One of the most wicked arms that can make the throws from an arm talent standpoint, but the accuracy or lack thereof was and is an issue. Athletic enough to make the plays with his legs if need be or extend the play. And coming out, he was very much a raw day 3 project. Then he got his shot in Buffalo at the end of the season. And look, I'm not here to say that's the end all be all about how he played in Buffalo, because he played very well. He was really, really impressive. He was very poised within the pocket. I thought his accuracy was a lot better. His command, he had this calm confidence to him in that game. My takeaway from the Buffalo game, and it's just one game, but my takeaway was, there might have been some development that had been going on from training camp, right? All the way to week 17 and got a shot in week 18. There's some development that happened, that's positive development that happened, because you saw him be better than he was in college in that game. Now, I also had here that there was some maturity. There was some, okay, he's not rushing. He's not looking to take off. There is that calmness in the pocket. There is that scanning of the field, and we're going to get a couple plays that a lot of people liked from that game. Well, there's a play, and then there's another one to me that said, okay, yes, this kid is developing. And from all accounts, from Patriot fans, they sound a little annoyed that they got rid of him for just a 5th round pick. So if you're looking at the fan base, they're pretty upset about that. But let me take a look at a couple of plays that I liked. If I can pull this up, make sure I get this right again. There we go, baby. There we go. Now this play is the play I think everybody. I know the one that was negated, right? People love that one, running around and stuff. But this one was not negated. This was the touchdown play to was it Booty or Butte, whatever they call him. This one, you see the wicked armness from Joe Milton and the athleticism from Joe Milton. He did this a good number of times, right? Drop back. He has a good base in the pocket. Nothing's quite there. Steps up into pressure because this guy beats him. You'll see the other angle, but he gets out of the pressure, rolls to his right. And I'm not saying that other quarterbacks can't make this throw, but you have to have arm talent and strength to make this freaking throw. I know quarterbacks that make this throw. This is Pitt. Zips it in. Touchdown. an impressive play in of itself. It's a highlight type of play though. So a lot, you might say, oh, well, whatever. It's a highlight run around, not structured play. But it's not because he played out of structure immediately. No, he was dropped back, good base, read the defense, nothing there, come back this way, still good base. There's pressure, guy, whoever 91 is that Oliver? He rips the double team, not a great offensive line over there in New England. Didn't get sacked in that game, by the way. Gets out, and just an absolute wicked throw off base for a touchdown. I'm just going to say this before we get to the next play. Yes, this kid, I think, is a better quarterback than Trey Lance. And yes, I think, obviously, he's more gifted than a Cooper Rush. But that's neither here nor there. Now, this play to me is just a regular run-of-the-mill second and long play. But I wanted to show this one because this is the development I'm talking about. This is where you see, okay, preseason game, or you see college tape Joe Milton, and mostly college tape, and you say, yeah, I don't know if he can make these routine type of plays consistently. And then you get to this game and you watch the film and you say, nah, there's something that happened over the course of 5 months or whatever, where this kid has picked some things up. This one, they do some pre-snap motion, snap action here, and it got RPO tied to it. So right away, again, Joe Milton drops back and he's trying to go through his progression, right? Go through the read. This is where he wants to hit. I believe this is the tight end. Can't remember which one. Nothing's there. So now he tries to come back and he tries to hit, or not hit, but looks at, I don't know these wide receivers' names here. Nothing there, right? Resets in the pocket, flips, and you got to kind of rope this. Yes, this is a wide open throw in the sense of the NFL. But again, some quarterbacks just don't have that wicked arm to do it, or a strong enough arm. You don't got to have a wicked arm to do this. Fires it in there, and we get a first down. Oh, Scott, that's a regular routine play. It is, and I like it. I want my quarterback to be able to make these regular routine type of plays. And from the other angle, you can see, again, play action. Right away, he's looking this way to try to, I believe it was the receiver, but he wants to hit either the receiver or the tight end. And again, nothing's there. Let's go through our progressions. And now he's over here looking at the wide receiver. Nothing's there. Protection's kind of breaking down. A lot of trash in front of him, right? Let's reset the pocket. Boom. We're resetting the little things like this impress me for a raw quarterback, right? He didn't reset the pocket to run. He reset the pocket to stay within the structure of the offense, knowing that, okay, one's not there, two's not there. I got this deep dig on the back end. And if you go back and look at the other angle here, let's run this up. Take a look at this linebacker right here. This guy right here. Take a look at this linebacker. And this is, I love when quarterbacks can manipulate the defense with their eyes. And that's what he does. He manipulates this linebacker just enough, right? If Joe Milton or any other young quarterback comes off the first read and just locks on to this receiver right here, this linebacker would be in the window. He's not. So he's not in the window. We come back here. He moves him off and he fires it, right? One of the mechanics can be cleaned up a little bit here. And we get a routine first down, but you need some of those routine plays. He was really good in this game, man. 22 for 29, 241 yards, 76% completion. Had a rushing touchdown. It was his only start of the season. If you're looking for something to be excited about with Joe Milton, that game should definitely be a game that gets you excited. Now, there is obviously still room for improvement. Don't get it twisted. He's got mechanical things, he needs to work on. You still see that back foot a lot. You saw this with Dak too early in his career. That back foot swings a lot. It's like an open gate, and you don't really want that. But he's a rookie. He was a raw rookie, relying on his athleticism, not his mechanics. And often with quarterbacks who want to put that work in, they go to quarterback gurus to work on said mechanics. And I'm not saying that you didn't see some of this in regards to Joe Milton in college or earlier in preseason, but you didn't see it as consistently as you saw it in that game. I really, like this move for many of different reasons. This is not, because I saw somebody on Twitter, oh, you're just, if he doesn't play well, you're going to get mad or whatever. No, this is not the same situation as a Trey Lance. It may have some similarities, right? Whereas a raw quarterback, not a lot of experience in college, etc. Well, number one, the difference is you don't take a Trey Lance in the top 5 of the NFL. You don't do that. They did that as in the San Francisco 49ers. But for the Cowboys, you traded a decent pick, one where you could have used a running back in that draft. It is what it is. But not only did you trade a decent pick, you didn't have a lot of contractual control, and you paid like roughly $10 million or something like that over the course of 2 seasons, and he didn't play. And the big one here, you got him so late. What makes this much better is that you're getting him in here right now. You're getting him in here, new regime, new offense. He's going to be working with these guys in a couple weeks, right? You're not waiting to the season and he can't, develop, and then you got to wait till next. He's going to get mini camp, OTAs, training camp, preseason all this year. Those are crucial developmental stages in a young quarterback, right? And he's going to get it next year. And he's going to get it the next year. He is under contractual control for 3 seasons. That alone wipes the floor with the previous quarterback trade with Trey Lance. And yeah, I personally think what I saw and how I saw him play in that Bills game, and if you think this is hyperbolic, let me know, was better than anything I saw from Trey Lance, even in regular season games. So yeah, I think this is a really good move. I think this is the best move of the offseason for the Cowboys because of the value in it, in the position of importance. This is Sky, a backup quarterback's the best move. It's a low bar. Don't get me wrong. It's a very, very low bar. But yeah, I think this was a really good move. And before I don't know if the discourse has started with, you know how this goes. Oh, the Cowboys brought in Andy Dalton. He's going to take Dak's job. Oh, the Cowboys brought in Cooper Rush. He's going to take Jack. The Cowboys brought in Wilger. He's going to take. The Cowboys brought in Trey Lance. He's going to take. Before we get to that point, and it may already be there, this isn't about him taking the job. But because he's under contractual control for 3 years, if Dak Prescott continues to get hurt, if we're just not, getting over that hump with them in 2 years, and they're ready to move on, or Dak's ready to move on, or whatever, or he keeps getting hurt, a la Tony Romo. If this kid develops and continues to develop, there is that maybe in that 3rd year we can look at it as an audition type of year for him, a la Jordan Love, right? Jordan Love got into that final contract year and showed out. Now he got the bag, but some could say, damn it, they shouldn't have did it. But when you got a quarterback, you got a quarterback. You got to pay him. This is what it is. So I think this, just from top to bottom, it just all makes sense and lines up. And guess what? If it doesn't work out, you basically, when you look at the trade, you don't lose anything from a draft pick standpoint. This is wiped out. Joe Milton in the 7th rounder wipes out the 5th rounder. That just is what it is. And if it does work out, you either have a guy that you can see if he can be a quarterback of the future, or you got a backup who, if he comes in, something I was thinking about here. Talk to me about this a little bit. There's a possibility that he is an offensive fit. I'm using the word possibility because we don't technically know just quite yet how this offense is going to look, but I have a good idea. I do think this is going to be an offense where you see a lot of pre-snap, post-snap action, motions, run. I think they want to bring the RPO or read option to it. Now, Dak is not going to do a whole lot of the running, but when they asked Clayton Adams some months ago, someone straight up asked him, like, hey, look, you use Kyler Murray's legs a lot or in Arizona. Is that something you want to do here? And he was like, yeah, that's something I want to do. So I think that if Dak goes down and a Joe Milton has to step in, I think they would use the RPO read option pretty frequently. Now, is this dude even as good as a runner as a Trey Lance? No, I don't think he's a good of a runner, but he's athletic enough to do it. And what that does, and if you go look at how, again, Kyler is a little jitterbug, but they use that a good bit in Arizona. And I don't think it's going to be a high-end aspect of the offense with Dak Prescott. But if he goes down, I think you can use that with Joe Milton, and that can kind of help you move along. Not saying that Joe Milton gets in there, the Cowboys are just going to go on this run or anything like that. But from a developmental standpoint, getting him comfortable, wanting to see him, get going, not only is that going to get him comfortable, but hey, maybe he can be a weapon in that sense if he has to play. So I think he could be a fit. We'll see. We'll see what this. I don't know what this offense is going to look like, but I think I have a good idea. I think you'll see kind of a mix of the Rams, Arizona, right? And they're very similar. I think you're gonna see a McVay-ish type of offense. I do. You just listen to Shoddy, and that's what he wants. He wants to be more modern in that way. He wants those guys actually technically run the ball too, but they run the ball with a purpose, right? They're not trying to hit a number. If they're going to hit that number, they're going to hit that number with a purpose behind it. We know Clayton Adams. We broke him down a while. He likes to get his guys on the move, right? They run out of shotgun, but they don't just shotgun run up the middle. They're moving guys. There's action to it. There's lineman pulling. There's gap scheme stuff. There's a lot of versatility in the ground game, and they use the quarterback in that way. So if Joe Milton comes in, I think that's just the 11th player you have to worry about. Where Dak, you're not gonna have to worry about it a whole lot, but hey, man, got to do it sometimes, Dak. Got to do it sometimes. So I like this trade. I don't look at this as some type of threat. I look at this can be a good thing. And I said this last time with Trey, where I didn't like the compensation and the timing of it, and Jerry saying I'm just going to do this my damn self, screw everybody else. But I'm like, hey, somebody was, oh man, this is going to make Dak this and that. I'm like, no, this is probably going to push Dak even harder in regards to the trade thing, because the discourse was way louder and stronger than it is now because of the top 3 pick stuff. Joe Milton doesn't have that pedigree, so they're not really hearing that a whole lot, except Shady, this dude. But I'm like, nah, man, this is probably pushing, man. What happened? Dak went on to be the real MVP of the 2023 season. But with Milton, I hope that he's able to get in that room, learn from Dak from a mental standpoint, and apply that, because it looked like, based off of the film, he learned something. He was developing something. So this is to me an A+ move here for the Cowboys, trade for Joe Milton, and I'm wishing nothing but the best for the kid, because if he's needed and if he gets a shot to audition, I want him to be ready. I want him to be ready. Vaughn said those preseason games of was Milton going to have our fans thinking he's the second coming of Lamar. Yeah, you know how it is here in Dallas, man. But I've retired from the nonsense, man. Now, if you want to call in with the nonsense, it's a whole different story. Call in with the nonsense, 351-999-3787. But I've retired online with the nonsense. Y'all savior is looking like he finna go to the CFL. Oh, y'all was crazy over the last 2. Oh my goodness, man. Oh my. Y'all know I'm not lying. And it sucked that I had to talk about that young man in that manner, but he wasn't like. What? All right, he's so good. It should be no problem. He should have no problem. He's free now, y'all. He can go play anywhere. Teams can sign. Oh, hey, here come Trey. The motherfucking CFL, dog. Yeah, but let me take a sip. Ooh, it's my first show back. I ain't trying to get do-rag sky on y'all. I don't want the beige rage to come out, but y'all better not ever. Y'all better not do that again. That's all I'm saying. Don't. In fact, if y'all try to do that, I'm gonna let y'all talk. I'm gonna get a picture of Trey. I'm just gonna pow. Did you learn your lesson yet? The Cowboys learned their lesson. If the Cowboys, and y'all know I can't stand them Joneses. If the Cowboys can learn their lesson, so should you and I. Learn my lesson years ago with a lot of things with Dallas, and now I think and move differently. Cowboys said, wait. First of all, I ain't finna give up no 4th round pick and get nothing back in return for a raw project quarterback with a contract attached to him that ain't really that good. What they did was say, "Oh, we gonna get a raw project quarterback, right? We finna get something back in return. We finna like this contract with it. We got 3 years of control at very low cost. This is I learned my lesson move. This is I learned my lesson move. If they learn their lesson, you damn sure better have learned yours." King said, Sky, for a minute, I thought fans were about to ask for trade day. Oh, they was. Now I've seen some thoughts that have made sense. Like somebody was like, I think it was shouts out to my bro Tuck. Tuck was like, hey, you might as well bring him back because you've invested a year and a half into Trey Lance and he knows this and he knows that. That makes sense, right? I get it. But I personally think Joe Milton's better. Yeah, I think Joe Milton's he better. Boss in the building. He said, look at God, Sky back. Yeah, baby, we back, man. We back. Excited to be back. As you guys can tell, man, I just was going today. I missed talking ball with y'all. I've been following it around. I've been following what's been happening, obviously, with the Cowboys, but just in general, across the scene. We back, though. Toxic said, where'd you go, Toxic? 49ers fleeced an old man like the fake IRS scam. Yeah, if you guys remember, John Lynch was like, we were blown away by the offer. Nobody was trying to give that much up. And what pissed me off most about it was Jerry came out and Jerry said, oh, I didn't ask nobody nothing. I didn't talk to the quarterback's coach. I didn't talk to the head coach. I didn't talk to this, to that. I made that decision. And it's like, man, that's why this thing broken. But I don't think that's the case. My bad if y'all can hear my dog in the background. I don't think that's the case here. I think this was a situation where they all probably came together and said, hey, man, there's something to this kid. Because let's be real. Jerry Jones don't know who no goddamn Joe Milton is. Jerry knew who Trey Lance was because Trey Lance was a top 3 pick. That's why Jerry can say, I ain't got to talk to nobody. McClay came to Jerry and said, hey, Jerry, there's this young quarterback on the market potentially here. Jerry, what's his name? Joe Milton. Milton Hershey? Like in her? No. Joe Milton. Biden? Joe? You know what, Jerry? Don't even worry about it. I'm going to go talk to the scouts. I'm going to go talk to Shoddy. I'm going to go talk to the quarterback's coach. We'll come back to you. We'll let you know how we feel about it. Jerry was about ready to go get that Hershey Chocolates sponsorship as soon as he heard Milton. I think they all collectively came to him and said, yeah, there's something here. We liked him coming out. Jerry don't know who goddamn Joe Milton is, man. Stop it. Let's talk to y'all, man. Professor O in the bill. Hey, for all my draft nuts and nerds, Professor O created this draft program that allows you to move guys and play. I mean, it's just ridiculously amazing. I'm trying to get him to do a free agency one for next year. Go on Twitter, follow Professor O, download his, I think it's Excel sheet, and have some fun with it, man. It is a really cool tool. Shouts out to you. Thank you, Dante. Thank you. And I know I ain't talk about draft at all yet. That's because we slow rolling this thing out. Next week, I do want to, get Foots and them on. Me, Foots, and Zach are going to do a draft show. Kind of just get us introduce us together, because I don't want the first time you see us together to be on the draft show, right? Round one of the draft show. But y'all know how I love to go all out with the draft. So I'm gonna bring them on. Talk to Two Eyes. We're going to try to get a show popping again, and we're just going to continue to follow what's happening across the league and across the Cowboys. But we're kind of entering that last leg before we get into the draft, and I know what I want. I know the discourse has not changed from a few months ago. Last time I talked about, trenches versus this versus that. But I'm trying to remove just what I want, because every year I want a specific thing, right? And I often have said I'm not trying to get attached emotionally to these players, because that the last time that happened, I got hurt. I've always come away with, does it make sense? They could take a guy that I don't want to take right there, but does it make sense? It's going to be hard for the Cowboys to take a guy in early, at least. A lot of people think I'll draft over after round one, but early in the draft, that doesn't make sense. And you know why? Because they did this in free agency. Everything on the table, fam. They didn't do a damn thing in free agency to be like, yeah, we can't take that here. Yes, you can. What about round two? Yep. You can take it there too. They did nothing in free agency for me to be like, you can't do that here. Shit. You ain't fooling me. So while we have our preferences, man, don't get mad. Okay, look, I can't tell you how to feel, right? Because a lot of people get attached to these players, man. It's okay to be like, man, I ain't get that guy I wanted, man. Just make sure you circle back. Does it make sense? And then we're going to break down the player, et cetera, et cetera. He ain't finna fool me. Man, we gotta take everything at 12. What you talking about? Oh, and you know what's funny? I wanted to say, but I wasn't doing shows, but Vosh said it perfectly. He said, hey, blame them. Why are we fighting we're fighting amongst each other who to take at one specific pick or two, because of them. Them as in the Cowboys. But it was fun just sitting back and watching the discourse, man. It's fun. Sway said every pick has a hit. Boy, they need them all. Jonathan Mingo will help us, Robert. I don't really care too much about them talking, except for Shotty. Shotty is important to listen to right now. But Steven and Jerry, I don't really care about listening to them at this specific moment. Although I do, because that's my job, right? I listen, but I listen with a trained ear per se. The one time to listen to them, though, they're going to have that night before draft presser, a couple nights before. They're going to have that presser. They're going to sit down. Every year they do it. That's where you want to really tune in, keen into what they're saying, and they'll give you some hints on to how they're going to move. They've already given you some hints in a way, right? If you listen to Shotty, but Jerry love to talk that talk before the draft. All right. So maybe that will give you. And I don't like listening to reports either. I don't like listening to reports. A lot of funny line season. We've seen this before. But I think my concerns about the two positions that I think they absolutely need to come away with in the top 100, receiver and running back, my concerns are valid. And when I mean by concerns, I mean, we traded a fourth for Jonathan Mingo. We signed Kevontae Turpin to whatever, right? Oh, man, we signed 2 running backs. In reality, that shouldn't matter. Any other team, that shouldn't matter. This team, though, I've seen them do it. I've seen them. Hey, man, we got Royce Freeman and Ezekiel Elliott and Rico Dowdle. Hey, man, we signed James Washington. Noah Brown? Yeah, Noah Brown is coming along. And what do these fools do come November, December? Shit, we need help. Somebody call T.Y. Hilton. Then the next year, God damn it, we got to make the trade now. We have to make the trade for the cornerback and the receiver because we ain't got him. So don't be mad at me because of how they move. That has me concerned. In reality, that shouldn't matter. You should come away with the running back and the wide receiver in this draft early. You absolutely need it. And I don't want to get into this discourse. I see my guys here. I see Boss in here, and I see Lou in here. Because I'm not against taking an offensive lineman. And we about to get into it right now a little bit. I'm not against that. But I will say this. With the new coaching staff, with the philosophical shift in the offense, I think that those guys will be able to have a functional offense up front if they don't take an offensive lineman in with 12 or right in the second round or whatever. I do. Now, they're going to be dominant. Or are they going to be? No, not at all. But I get it. It makes sense because they still need an offensive lineman starter. Technically. Lou said y'all hate big guys. I don't. You look at my reaction to Tyler Smith. I gave my pros and cons to the pick. Now, I didn't want Tyler Guyton. It was other guys I wanted. Go look at our conversations last year. There's a lot of tackles in that draft that I'd have been happy to take at that pick. Guyton wasn't one, but like normal, I said, okay, does it make sense? It made sense because you needed a tackle. But I said, all right, y'all, just know this is a 2025 pick. But boy, you cannot roll out no damn Jalen Tolbert, Jonathan Mingo, Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, and come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. That ain't even a. And then defensively, you still got. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, that's the Cowboys, though. Every position is up for grabs. So don't get mad. Vaughn, we talking. We in overtime, whatever you want to call it. Vaughn, I don't know. I've had this conversation. Vaughn said Guyton's out of position. No, he's playing the right position. He's a tackle. But you're saying he should be on the right? Why? Because he played 13 games on the right side in college. Not enough. I often hear that, and I often rebut with, no, I don't think he had a position or a specific position, left tackle, right tackle. I think it was a big ball of clay. This wasn't Awesome Richards. Awesome Richards came out with like 1,500 snaps at left tackle, a gang of snaps at guard, a gang of snaps at right. He was everywhere, but he had a ton of snaps at left tackle. He was already molded in a sense. Tyler Guyton came in last year a big ball of clay. even with him playing on the right side for 13, that's not a lot of college tape. That's not a lot of college experience. That's not enough for me to say that's your position, dog. He has the athletic profile of a left tackle. Point blank, period. More of a pass blocker than he is a run guy. And traditionally, your right tackles are more run guys than pass guys, right? Because why? Your quarterback is the blind side on the left. So I technically think he's in the right position. He's just not refined. He doesn't have enough experience playing the position in general. So I always rebut with that. Like, man, he needs to be right tackle. Why? Because he played 13 games in college? Not enough. It's not enough for me to say that. Because the same things that I've seen on the left side are what he struggled with in college on the right side. He didn't give up a whole bunch of sacks. I don't even give him any sacks technically in that last year at Oklahoma. But what made him a raw project, which is why he was drafted as the fifth or sixth tackle, whatever it was, a late first rounder. Those things were on the right side. And they're still showcasing on the left. That's because he's raw, right? But I think there's something there. I think, and this could be where you have to have some type of blind optimism. Not a lot. I don't like blind hate. I don't like blind optimism. But I understand as a fan, right? This is me putting the fan hat on now. There's 17 hats I got to wear. At some point, you got to have some type of blind optimism. And my blind optimism is Clayton freaking Adams. If you missed the breakdown show of Clayton Adams, please, ladies and gentlemen, go back and watch it. His resume speaks for itself. This guy gets the best out of players. And let's not do this with Tyler. I hate this, right? I've seen even my peoples. Man, we ain't got a left. What do you mean we ain't got a left? You just drafted this young man last year. Y'all act like this dude put out the worst tape in the history of professional sports, and he doesn't have any good tape, anything to build. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling. We don't got a left tackle. What? You're damn sure you do. And you better develop them. That's why you pay a premium for a guy like Clayton Adams to come in and you say, hey, we're not just going to bring you in here to be offensive line guy because we know you can go get a better job and more money somewhere. You're going to be the OC and you're going to work with these boys. I don't want to hear that. You got a goddamn left tackle. Now let's see if he can develop. This whole we ain't got to after 1 year. But is it social media? Is it microwave society that we just that damn fast? Boy, if social media was around 20 years ago, but in the 90s and 80s, and so half of these damn Hall of Famers and solid quality guys would have never lasted 1 year if that was a thought process past 1 year. Now, you want to come back here in 2026, 4/4/2026, say, Sky, see, I told you he ain't shit. Cool. But damn it, show me you ain't shit for more than one rookie season. All right, man, I said I wasn't going to do it, but I kind of got into it a little bit, man. My bad. King said, hopefully Guyton is grinding and improving. I mean, I don't. Is his work ethic question? I don't necessarily think so, but let me see Clayton put his hands on these. Pause. Nowadays, but let me see Clayton work with these dudes. Now, am I saying, well, just go ahead and let Clayton Adams work with some Brock Hoffman and everything good? No, I'm not saying that. Okay, I think Brock Hoffman is who he is, but I think there is more talent in a guy like a Tyler Guyton that you can work with. There's a higher ceiling with a guy like Tyler Guyton that Clayton Adams can get his hand on. That ain't me saying just throw Brock Hoffman in there and just close your eyes and be good. No. I wanted to sign an offensive guard, but there's a possibility that they may move BB to guard and Hoffman to center. But I think BB could be a fantastic guard, but I don't think Brock Hoffman could be a fantastic center. I think you kind of have the same issues you had when you had Biotis here. So if you're going to do that, just go get a center or sign a guard. But the Cowboys don't believe in that in free agency, and I hate it. I hate it. See, Lou, I would have loved to pay a Trey Smith, a Daniels, a trade for. I'm cool with that. But goddamn it, how many first round picks we got to keep spending on offensive line? I saw something I didn't even think about until I saw it. The Cowboys have only drafted a first round wide receiver 4 times. Bro. Y'all can't be serious. And I'm not saying it got to be a first round wide receiver. I'm not saying that's crazy. That's crazy. Let's keep it going. It's been a while. That's crazy. Where my draft heads at, man? Because I know there's like the Jalen Royals and things like that. There's day 2 and 3-ish guys that have been floated around, but I saw some crazy detailed analysis on the hit rates and impacts of that position, and you almost have to go early. You almost have to go early at that position, I'm saying. If they don't, are y'all comfortable with wide receiver in rounds 3 through 5 that can come in here and be impact and wide receiver 2s of the future? Because my thought process on the first 2 rounds specifically, and with the way the Cowboys operate, we kind of got to extend that to 3 and maybe 4. I need those dudes coming right now. You got to come in and you got to play, and you got to be impact guys. That's pressure, right? Are we really thinking? And y'all know all the names, but are we really thinking day 3 guys going to do that? It's possible. Round 3 guys going to be that guy. I think if they take a guy in round 3, they're going to roll with a damn Jalen Tobin, Jonathan Mingo, right? And maybe they take a step. I agree, Toxic. It is a blinking red light. Lou, boss, and for all the, and this may be for y'all, is the front a blinking red light to you? Blinking red light positions to me right now would be wide receiver, cornerback, defensive tackle. Those are blinking red lights. I don't think offensive line's a blinking red light, but if that guy is there and he is so far away ahead, best player available, and they take him, I get it, because you can plug him in for a Zach Martin. Queso said linebacker. I don't know if linebacker's blinking. Maybe yellow. And I say that because I just talked about Jack Sanborn, got Maris Leofow, Kenneth Murray. Like I think you got to beef up the front. I think those guys can go out there and play. Y'all know how I feel about Sanborn. I think Sanborn, I would have signed him to like a 3-year cheap deal. That's the thing I hate about this sometimes. You're going to hit, like the Cowboys usually, when they do this, at least, you go back to looking at some of the moves. Matter of fact, they usually hit on like a couple of these dudes, right? J-Ron Curse. Who was the other? Malik Hooker. Dante Fowler was one. They're all 1-year deals, though. I would have looked at Jack Sanborn, especially, when you got Eber. Like, Flus ain't going to be a head coach again, probably. Man, maybe we'll see. Flus going to be here for a minute. Come on over, sign this 3 years, $8 million deal so you can get him for the cheap. And have some security, because I think that guy could be your middle linebacker. But, my question, though, is it a blinking red light? What did Lou say? Lou says it's blinking. That's the beauty of the draft, though, man. Tons and tons of opinions. Both should be there. Toxic said the best teams, look at the best teams, they have more than 100%. My issue with their thought process on the position, and really of all of their high paid positions, if you really think about it, Dallas often comes out and says something along the lines of, well, we paid you, you got to do more with less. Quite literally said that to Dak. Unbelievably stupid. Something similar to CD. Stephen Jones came out and said, well, I'm giving you all that money, CD. You're going to have to be better than you were in 2023. Sir, he broke all the records in 2020. Let's be real here. You're giving him money because he's earned it and he's one of the best wide receivers, top 3 in the goddamn league. You're not paying him to break records every single year. You're paying him to be that difference maker. And a difference maker, he may not be 1,700 yards and 14 touchdowns. It may look like 13, 50, and 10. Still a damn difference maker. But you got to give him help. That's why I get worried. They don't want to pay a premium for that help. I'm hoping they ain't got a goddamn choice like they did with CD Lamb. They ain't have a choice when CD Lamb fell. A choice. They looked at that board. They looked at the draft. They looked at their board again. Hey, fellas, this is easy, right? Yeah, 17. It's easy. It's a layup. A layup. Didn't they use that to get motherfucking Mario about it? And told CD, you on your own, player. Better work with one-legged Michael Gallup and Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert. The league said, that's not how this works, man. So they learned their lesson with Joe Milton. I'm hoping they learn their lesson with the wide receiver position. Running back, I'm not going to fight you on running back. Yeah, I would love to have, look, I love Trey Henderson. That's who I kind of want in the second round. But running back, you know how I feel about it. Scheme, block it up, get you some dude with some traits. If you don't got the scheme, you ain't block it up, yeah, you may need to get a Jenny type. There's plenty of running backs, though. I'm not really tripping about running back that early. I love a Marion Hampton. I like a lot of running backs in this draft. Vaughn said, y'all don't like wide receiver by committee? No. Those are. We do not do that here. Noah Brown and James Washington. Shouts out to Law Nation. Shouts out to everybody that's been holding it down in the content game over the last few months. But we back, baby. We back. Smoke said Henderson was my choice guy. I always have a player I'm fighting to not get fighting. I'm like, get out of here, man. Get off of me, Trey. Get out of here. That's the guy right now. I desperately want that guy at 44. I don't know if he'd be there, but man, but there's a lot of guys. I don't think Hampton gonna be there. I think he'll sneak into the first. Ollie Gordon, but Ollie Gordon, I think you can get him later than the second. I mean, there's other things surrounding Ollie Gordon that could push him back. Nah, I'll be back, Toxic. We back. We in it now, baby. We in it now. We are in the home stretch for the NFL draft. That's why kind of this last part of the show has kind of been a lot of draft talk. I didn't get a chance to do all of the draft things I've done over the years with all the segments, but we'll try to cram it in the next 3 weeks. We are building. I'm starting to build out me and Zach, who has been doing a fantastic job. Has come up in this space. We are starting to build out the draft show for you for the first round. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. But like I say every year, I'm not a draft guy. I listen to the True Draft Nits. And because shouts out to the bro Vach, who's crushing on a draft show, he's going to be, doing the draft with them. This year, he won't be on our draft show. So Zach is taking that spot, and he's, it's fantastic. So I want to kind of get, obviously, him introduced to, y'all already know him, but introduced to the squad. Obviously, Foots is Foots. We do draft stuff every year, and we'll go from there. Don't be a pop-up shop. Yeah, nah. The other gig, man, I did not. So it was. I was excited to get the position off, and I'm still excited. For those who don't know, I am doing production work for Bubba Dub over on the Volume with the Volume, and they've placed me with that team, and man, we've become really close in the sense of the person I'm working with and Bub and whatnot. Man, we've been doing some good work, and it's been so much fun doing that. Almost too much fun, because and I think timing was good though. I needed to kind of take a step back. I was tapping into a different side of my skill set, right? I've been so Cowboys focused, sports focused, production wise and whatnot, that I was able to tap into pop culture more and my humor more with Bub. Man, it's been hilarious, man. Hilarious working with. I say hilarious because he's funny as hell, but it's been fun, and there's some different doors opening up with that. And for those who don't know me, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I've developed just as much of a love for production as I have for the spoken word aspect of what I do. That was the first thing I did, was the spoken word, right? It was the talent aspect, the analysis and breaks down and things like that. But the production aspect is something I take serious and I pride myself in, and it's opened up doors for me, and I love it. And I love doing it for that specific show and maybe other shows moving forward over there. But yeah, trash. Like Bubba Dub, funny, man. He's a good dude. Shouts out to Dion over there. Shouts out to Logan on the Volume. Excited to continue to work with them, and obviously still keep up with you guys. But I've been so dialed in there, and obviously with the move across country, it's just been a lot going on. But I'm back, man. Back. Do me a favor on your way out. Let me see what I got. Hit the like button, if you will. Share this thing with your Cowboys friends, family, even foe. Let them know. Skywalker Morning Show is back, baby. We back. I will figure out. I mean, this would normally be the part of the show where I do the super chats. I don't think it's difficult. I think I just got to turn it on. Appreciate you, man. Shouts out to CFT Rome in the building. Saying our production always been the best, no question. Thank you. I love doing the production aspect, man. It's so much fun. I'll turn it back on hopefully the next time I'm on. But you want to support? I guess there's stickers, and there's also the like I said, Cash App ChillWill1026. Common Sense said we needed you. We missed you, Scott. That meant a whole lot. I kept hearing that I kept hearing that throughout this process, and I'm like, I don't need me, man. There's 100 million people talking Cowboys and doing some good work. And I just never, y'all know me. I'm always head down, trying to get better. I don't look at myself any certain way. I still feel like I'm trying to come up in this thing, and I often hear people say, oh, include me in these names, and I'm just like, nah, man. I ain't where I want to be. But it's y'all who remind me that, the hard work is paying off. So thank you. With that said, signing off feels weird right now. But I'll be back. I will be back. Hold on, let me see. No, that didn't work. See, there's some rust. What's this right here? I don't know what that is. There's some rust I gotta knock off. We finna knock that off, man. I gotta find my button. See, where the button done went.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
No. There it is. See, I'm rusty. We back, baby. Catch me back Monday. Talking more Cowboys. May have a guest on, may not. I still want to talk to y'all. I want to talk to y'all next week. If something pop off, We'll get on. We out of here, man. Love y'all. Peace.
Bomb Squad!